There is another tropical storm coming. This will bring high winds and potentially even a few tornadoes. So let's go ahead and break that down as well as everything else coming up with the weather today. Hello everybody, my name is Davis and welcome back to the video, and let's go and get right into it. So starting off with today's SPC outlook, we have three different marginal risks. We have one up here in the upper Midwest, we have one over here in western parts of the US for the remainders of Tropical Storm Hilary, and then we have one down here in Texas. Let's go and break down all the threats that these brings. Now, starting off with our tornado threat today, we do have a 2% risk of a tornado down here in southeastern Texas, and at the time of filming, there's actually a tornado warning over in California, so tornadoes are definitely possible today, but are not confirmed or likely. So, moving on to the damaging wind outlook, today we have a 5% risk of damaging winds for this marginal risk. This extends all the way down from areas like Phoenix and Tucson all the way up into Montana, so look out for that if you're in that region. You have a 5% chance to see wind gusts of 60 miles an hour or higher. Now, moving on to the hail threat, we have a 5% risk of hail of 1 inch or larger up here in the upper Midwest, and then one down here, including Tucson, Arizona, as well as the Mesa, Arizona. So look out for that if you're in those areas. So moving on to tomorrow, we have another 3 marginal risks, pretty much in the same areas. This one is a bit smaller, this one has moved more over to the east, and this one has gotten bigger. So let's go and break them all down and the threats that they bring. Starting off with our tornado threat, tomorrow we have 2 different areas that have a 2% risk of a tornado. One of them is in Utah, which is extremely rare for this time of year. It's kind of rare to get a tornado in Utah just in general. And then we have a large 2% risk down here in very southern bits of Texas. That does include San Antonio and Corpus Christi. So look out for that tomorrow. Moving on to the wind risk, we have 2 different areas with a 5% chance for wind gusts of 60 miles an hour or higher. So look out in those regions. That once again includes San Antonio, Corpus Christi, Salt Lake City, Cedar City, and more. And then moving on to the hail threat, we do have a 5% risk of hail of 1 inch or larger tomorrow up here near the UP of Michigan as well as northeastern bits of Wisconsin, so look out for that. And then moving into Wednesday, we have no marginal risks as of right now, luckily. So moving on to the excessive rainfall outlook, we do have a large slight risk of excessive rainfall today that meets flash flooding guidance. It extends all the way down into areas in Arizona and California, all the way back up through Montana, and includes a bunch of other states as well, like Idaho, Nevada, Oregon, and much more. This goes all the way down from Vegas all the way up here to some more northern cities, up here near like Kalispell. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Kalispell and the Glacier National Park. So look out for that. Moving into tomorrow, we have another slight risk of excessive rainfall. This one's a little bit smaller, but there are 3 of them. So one of them is up here in Idaho and Oregon, as well as parts of Washington. One of them is down here in Utah, and then we have one down here in very southern bits of Texas. Then moving into Wednesday, we just have a couple marginal risks. Moving into Thursday, however, we have another slight risk of flash flooding in Utah once again, which again is very rare. This also includes some very northern bits of Arizona here. I doubt there's any large areas though. The Kabob Indian Reservation and the Vermilion Cliffs. So if you're in those areas, look out, as well as, again, many of these places up here in Utah. And then going into Friday here, we do have another slight risk of flash flooding, and this one extends all the way down to Denver, all the way up into areas like southeastern Wyoming and southwestern Nebraska. Then moving on to the Climate Prediction Center, we're starting with the day 6 to 10 temperature outlook. This is August 27th to August 31st. We have a very large heat dome, but also a very large cool dome that are kind of battling here and have some very thin lines here in the middle. So if you're in some very specific areas like southern South Carolina, parts of Georgia, parts of Alabama, Mississippi, and more all the way up here up to Wisconsin, then you're most likely going to see average temperatures. Otherwise, it's going to be a little nuts. So especially in portions of Idaho and Montana up here, it normally is not get this hot, so you're going to be seeing some very above average temperatures, most likely from August 27th to August 31st, once again. And then our cold dome over here, we have a very high chance to see below average temperatures all the way down into areas like Virginia and West Virginia, and even Ohio and Michigan, all the way up to New York and also Massachusetts. So look out for that. Then our day 6 to 10 precipitation outlook. Once again, that is August 27th through to August 31st. We have a large above average area of precipitation likely up here in Washington, as well as portions of Oregon and Idaho. And then we have a very large, I don't want to call it a drought region, but a most likely below average temperature region, especially in bits of Indiana and Illinois over here, as well as southwestern Michigan and very, very southeastern bits of Wisconsin. But really anywhere in this yellowish brown region, you could see below average precipitation, so look out for that. Then our day 8 to day 14 temperature outlook, that's August 29th through to September 4th. We can see that our heat dome gets much larger and starts to win the battle between the heat dome and the cool dome, but the cool dome still does reign supreme in portions of the Northeast here, and not just the Northeast, it also goes into the Ohio Valley, the Midwest, and even the Deep South. But for most of the other portions of the U.S., especially areas like Texas and Louisiana, you're going to be seeing very above average temperatures for August 29th to September 4th. Then our August 29th to September 4th precipitation outlook, the drought dome gets a little bit bigger. Once again, though, the primary point of concern is going to be in Indiana, Illinois, Missouri this time, Arkansas, Oklahoma, North Texas, southeastern bits of Iowa, and eastern portions of Kansas. Portions. I meant to say portions. And then it's going to be very wet up here in Washington once again. And then finally, and this is actually going to be the main point of today, we have the National Hurricane Center. So this is something that's very rare. We normally don't see this. This is not a tropical cyclone, but it does have wind gusts of 35 miles an hour right now. Sustained winds of 35 miles an hour. The gusts are potentially to 40 to 45 miles per hour. And the chance of it forming into a tropical cyclone in the next 48 hours is 90%, and the chance in the next 7 days is also 90%. And if we go ahead and look at our 7-day graph here, we'll go ahead and look at that. We go ahead and click on this. As you can see right here, it is going to go into southeastern bits of Texas. We already have tropical storm watches and even tropical storm warnings in place for southeastern bits of Texas. So if you're in either of those, you need to be looking out for potential tropical cyclone 9. So get ready for that. We do have tropical storm Franklin out here that is not looking to do too much other than go up through some of these mini islands out here in the Atlantic near Florida. And then we have tropical depression Gert, Gert, I think. Once again, it's not really going to do too much. In fact, it's about to fizzle out. It's been there for a while now. And then we do have a post-tropical cyclone Emily here. And then we have a disturbance out here that has a 70% chance to form in 7 days and a 40% chance to form in the next 48 hours. So we have a ton of tropical activity out here because the ocean waters in the Atlantic right now are hotter than they've ever been before. But Tropical Cyclone 9, potential Tropical Cyclone 9, is going to be the primary point of concern for today, and that's why we saw a bunch of marginal risks of severe weather down in southern bits of Texas, so get ready for that. Moving on to the eastern Pacific here, we do have a disturbance that has a 30% chance to form the next 7 days, so look out, but it's most likely not going to head anywhere. It's not going to be another Tropical Storm Hillary, thank goodness. Central Pacific, nothing new. So if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe. There's not much to talk about today, other than the fact that the tropics are getting extreme and there's a tropical storm heading for Texas. So Texas, be on the lookout for the next few days here. But yeah, other than that, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.